Hi everyone, my name is Yoni and I'm a computer science student. Today I'll be presenting a paper named When Digital Economy Meets Web 3.0, Applications and Challenges. It was published on the IEEE on October 27, 2022, got an impact factor of 5.7 and so far 61 citations in other papers. It was written by industry members, including senior IEEE members, and in the next few slides, I'll break down the key points from this paper, what is the problem, and of course, why Web 3.0 is an excellent solution. So, to start off, this paper focuses on centralization, which is a key issue in today's digital economy. It often leads to data breaches, to privacy leaks, and overall unfair control over users' information. In the paper, the author suggests that Web 3.0, which is decentralized, can help us and solve these problems. They explore how it can be applied in many areas, like machine learning, finance, and so on, in order to guide us towards a more secure economy. So let's begin with a quick introduction. The digital economy has grown rapidly since it was introduced in 1994. Since then, it became a major force in the global development. While technologies like AI, like big data, have advanced it, still centralization remained a problem. It's risking privacy, control, and overall risking data security. What was back then okay, now it's not good anymore. Simply moving services such as website, e-commerce, and so on to online is not enough, because users demand more. They demand security over their own information. And exactly here, Web 3.0 comes to help us. It helps us by being a decentralized, blockchain-based model that gives users control over their own data while enable secure services, and of course, it will be a strong foundation for building future, maybe the next generation of digital services. We'll start with the problem. So in today's era, users have very little control over their own data. Most of our online data is held by big companies or maybe in cloud storage providers. Everything is centralized, and this creates two major issues. The first one is that users are held captives to commercial decisions and platform policies with no control over their own information, which is an absurd. So the second one is that it makes those central points very attractive for attackers. Attackers that want to steal data, to corrupt data, and overall it's being a single point of failure, which is very, very bad. I'm sure we've all witnessed such high-profile attacks like the one happened in Sherbit, the Israeli insurance company, where millions of records containing users' data were stolen. And that was ridiculous back then. We can see from that example and from many, many other examples that the centralized model clashes with the high demand for data security, privacy, and overall control over the user's data. Before we jump into the solution of Web 3.0, we'll talk about some other alternative solutions, one of them being the zero trust architecture, where the core idea is to never trust and always verify. It means that no user, no device will be ever trusted immediately, so every request must be authenticated, authorized, and encrypted. While it seems like an effective approach, there is an issue. The issue lays in the implementation, which can be very complex and requires a major refactoring of the current infrastructure. And another issue is in the cost. The costs will skyrocket, the cost of the setup, of the maintenance, and especially it will be for large organizations. So it makes it kindly impractical. Another, you can say, innovative solution that was introduced is a homomorphic encryption, which allows computation on encrypted data without the need to decrypt it first. So this means that all sensitive data can stay encrypted throughout the whole processing, and while it seems to greatly reduce the risk of exposure and security issue, the reality is that it's very impractical because for most use cases, it's very complex to implement. The speed is relatively slow, and overall, it demands very high power requirements. So it limits the scalability, of course, and overall, it's not as good as we may think in the first place. So while these approaches may seem good, they are quite good, and some disadvantages, but they are a step forward into a good direction, and they don't quite give users the full experience that they want with data security, with implementation that is okay, and cost that won't skyrocket. And the solution will be to use Web 3.0, which we'll talk about right away. So we'll start into the solution, and one of the main technologies that makes Web 3.0 possible is actually blockchain. It shifts away control from centralized platforms and gives control back to the users through decentralized systems. And it mainly consists of 4 parts. The first one is the distributed ledger. In a traditional setup, we usually have a central database with a central authority which owns it. And in contrast, in blockchain, it runs on a peer-to-peer network where each computer, it's also known as a node, keeps a full copy of the data. This means that there is not a single point of failure, and if an attacker, for example, wants to access data, to change it, they would have to do that on many, many nodes at the same time, meaning that the risk for them would be much, much higher, and it's quite impractical. So I'm sure they would find another victim instead of us. So that's a good one. Another layer is the security. How do we keep things more secure? And here, blockchain uses cryptography. Basically, it uses encryption and digital signatures in order to ensure that only authorized participants can access certain data. Everyone can encrypt data using a public key, but only some are able to decrypt it using private keys. The some that are able to decrypt the data, we select, and that's the whole idea of the security here. So we talked about one layer, another layer, and the third layer we'll talk about is consensus mechanisms. We use it in order to make sure that all nodes are in sync. How does it happen? There are several rules that help the network agree on the current version of the data, while the main goal, of course, is to keep consensus across the nodes, and you can think of it as a digital agreement maybe. So it doesn't require a middleman, of course, and you don't need to trust another party to do that work for you. And because of that, it reduces cost significantly, and it opens maybe even doors for new applications, autonomous applications, to run by themselves without the need for anyone to be in charge. So that's a great enhancement. Together, all these 4 components, they create the backbone for the Web 3.0 platform and overall enable security and user control over their own data. So, in addition to blockchain, there is the distributed storage, which is a crucial part in the ecosystem of Web 3.0. It is not just about where we store data now, but also about who owns the data and who accesses the data, and overall how reliable it is. Unlike centralized systems like Dropbox and like Google Drive, the distributed storage slices files into multiple parts and save them across different nodes in the network while keeping decentralization on point. And it's very important because it boosts that way privacy and data ownership, while making it very hard for a single provider to claim full ownership over users' information. So that's one thing. And another thing which is important is the availability of the data. Because we want to distribute the storage among many nodes, so if one of the nodes fails or disappears from the network for any reason, other nodes will not be affected, and they still hold many parts of the data while preventing data loss. So if one node corrupts, it doesn't mean that the complete data is gone. So that's a really important factor. But the thing that drives, that really drives people crazy, we can say, is the incentive model. The incentive model means economic benefits. Modern distributed storages offer economic models, and you can lay down some distributed storage examples, such as BitTorrent, which was one of the first decentralized sharing models of large files, but it had a problem that it relied on torrent files, and it lacked in incentive program. So mainly, it used the goodwill of people and limited flexibility. But you can think of it maybe as the prototype of distributed storage. So that was the first one. And after that came Filecoin, which had the incentive model, and really every side benefited from the distributed storage. One thing is that the users could pay money to save data on providers in a distributed manner, with all the benefits of data availability and, of course, of available space. So they would offer that and the uptime of the data, and the provider would gain benefits, money, of course. So that is a thing that centralized systems are not capable to offer. So now we'll explore how Web 3.0 is shaping the digital economy. We can start with cryptocurrencies. There is Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and really a lot more currencies. There are just a few examples out of many, many more that are reshaping finance. They remove the need for central banks and overall use blockchain and the peer-to-peer network for transactions which are secure. Another thing is the Hyperledger Fabric, which is an open source blockchain framework that provides tools and components for building decentralized applications. It's used by developers, and it's a great thing. The third one, which I'm sure we all know about, is the NFTs. Maybe some of us just heard about it, but NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, they let people trade unique digital assets, such as maybe art or music and so many things, which allows authenticity, because the token is one of a kind and cannot be copied, meaning that whoever holds the token is the true owner of this item, of this asset. Another layer is the decentralized storage that we talked about earlier, with some examples such as BitTorrent and Filecoin that show how data can be shared and stored without relying on a central server. Another thing we'll talk about here is the IIoT, or the Industrial Internet of Things, which connects machines and devices to the internet while making it easier to monitor and control them. It helps industries like manufacturing, like energy industries, agriculture, and really a lot more. These are just a few examples, in order to improve their automation and gather more useful data. So this is fantastic. And the last example we'll talk about is the industrial internet. Web 3.0 help us contribute to smart systems like smart cities, like entertainment, healthcare, and really a lot more, in order to offer new ways to manage the infrastructure of them and deliver high quality services. So in this slide, we can see 6 examples, but in reality, it's just a pint, and there are many, many more examples that digital economy under Web 3.0 is influenced. So that's a great thing. So we got to the last slide, and to wrap things up, we can say that Web 3.0 is really more than just a buzzword, but it's a collection of technologies that already solving real problems in our lives. It's making a huge difference in fields like education, like AI, finance, data, and so many more, and lays down the infrastructure for building decentralized applications that don't rely on centralized entities. It opens new doors for many, many sectors, and overall, we can say that Web 3.0 is laying the foundation for more transparent, private, and secure digital economy. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it and it gave you a clearer picture of Web 3.0 and what are their benefits. Thank you very much.